Wednesday night, more reflection, Missouri, locking them down on defense, or your guys just having
No, it wasn't that. Again, I go back and we had some great opportunities, some really good looks at the basket, and didn't move the ball. We had chances to make passes, and that would have led to better offense, and we just held on to the ball too much. And that was our fault. Transition, we didn't get out as much as we wanted to, but that's what they did. They got back because they normally, you watched them play, they were down in the backcourt trying to slow you down, and they decided to go back and really more or less pack it back in there. So we had chances to do it. We just weren't consistent, and our guards again held on to the ball too long. And but we'll learn from it and get ready for this Saturday.
When you look at South Carolina on film, what is it they've been doing differently these last couple games to kind of get these wins they've had? Georgia, Kentucky.
I don't know if there's anything they're doing different. I just think guys are getting more familiar. They're every year you start over, and I think South Carolina plays the way Frank wants his teams to play. And they're no different than anybody else. Sometimes it takes teams a little bit longer and to totally figure it out, but they're playing really well, and Silva's playing as well as anybody in the league. And so great win for them against Kentucky. It showed their grit to fight back, and I think anytime you get ready to play, it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a game where you have to work really hard on both ends.
Defensively, Silva, Kyle's been playing some of his best ball lately too. How good do you expect that matchup to be between them?
Well, I just hope to get consistency. That's what we've been asking for, not just from Kyle, but from our guard play and from everyone. We just want to know what, we talk about consistency and reliability being the choice. And we just hope our guys are going to make the choice more often than they have in the past. I mean, we've been really good at times, and other times we wonder where that goes. And that's the key: is that can we get consistent? And can we know what we're going to get? We know we're going to have to play hard. And I think our team knows we've got to get better. I don't think there's any question that they realize that, and it goes back to not just the guys that start, that play minutes. The guys on the bench are going to be a big key to what we do going down the stretch.
The guard play wins. The offensive position is a tough day, or were there things you've seen in past games that kind of cropped up again? Well,
no, I think nothing happened that we hadn't seen, but it goes back to understanding that every game's a different game. You have to buy into the scout reports. And defensively, we guarded well enough to win that game. There's no question about that. But had a couple key breakdowns at the wrong time. We weren't alert on an out-of-bounds situation. Gave them a dunk, which we don't do that. We haven't done that all year. Go for a steal that results in a three-point play at the wrong time, and it goes back again to maturity, being patient, knowing that you're going to have to fight the entire time, and at no point in time can you try to go for spectacular plays when you just need to be solid.
Coach Kyle, last two games, he's 11 of 12 from the field. He's at 6 blocks. Is the light bulb coming on, or is it?
I've been spending more time with him. No, again, it's something that we know he's capable of doing, and we've told him that all along. And he's a junior now. You expect that from him. You expect him to come out and every night being locked. And again, the scoring is one thing. We don't talk a lot about that. I mean, he's capable of doing it. But what we want to see him do is what we need him to do. He's been our fix-it guy on most situations. The other night, he picked up 2 fouls where he went over to fix plays, where guys didn't do their job, and his instinct was to go as a rim protector to go try to make plays. And those were 2 big plays. The fact that it wasn't them coming directly at him. It was him going over, covering up for mistakes of other guys, and but that's his role. But we need those other guys not to make those mistakes so we can keep them in the game.
Coach, what impresses you when you watch South Carolina defense? Obviously, they've been a very good defense this season.
They're going to challenge. They're going to challenge passes. They're going to challenge it off the bounce. They're going to challenge everything. That's what they do. They rebound the ball well. You can't be a good defensive team if you're not good in all areas. And I look at them, and I think they're really sound in all areas.
What can you do to fix the guard play?
I don't know. I think that we've got enough guys that have played enough minutes now. I think that if it's going to get back to maybe changing a rotation, I'm not sure. We're still trying to figure it out because we go into games, quite honestly, not knowing what we're going to get. And so we have to wait and see how it unfolds. And I do think that we still need to get some other guys in the rotation a little bit where we can get maybe bigger at times. But it's the guard plays. We're better than that. We can shoot the ball. There's a lot of things that, but by committee, we shouldn't have nights like that.
Coach, where's Yves Pons in his development? What's holding him back?
I just think it's a different game, but I think he's getting closer and closer. You know, he's a guy that it's a whole new game for him. You know, he missed the summer, which was critical for him, but you know what? He's a worker, and he's a guy that I can tell you personally, I got to get him out there. You know, because to let him start getting some experience, because he needs that, and I know that he can help us. But the biggest thing that has held him back is he's learning a whole new game, and we're moving quickly, and the adjustments we have to make. He has some difficulty with that at times, but anybody that works as hard as he works, I just think he's got a great future, and I've got to get him out there some way.
Do you want to press or extend your pressure full court more often than you have?
Well, we have pretty much all year. You know, what people are doing now, we pretty much man press. You know, people throw it in and just get out of the way and let it be one-on-one, which is fine for us because most of the time we're getting teams to take 8-10 seconds off the clock before they get into their offense, and that's a part of extending your defense. And I do think as time goes on, we'll do some other things, and we have at times this year shown some different presses, and we can do that, but we're still trying to get real solid on some other things before you can really add some things.
Coach, what's your relationship like with Frank Martin?
I've known him for a long time, and obviously from our Big 12 days, and I have the utmost respect for him. And you know, he loves the game. He's a guy that everyone in the business really respects because of his honesty and the fact that he is. I mean, I consider him a friend. I really do. I mean, he's a guy that I've watched him throughout my life in basketball grow and become one of the elite coaches in the game, and was really happy for him a year ago, what he did, and he's again, you look at his teams, they really do take on his personality.
What are the hallmarks of a Frank Martin coach team?
Hard-nosed, gritty, toughness. They're going to battle you. They're going to fight you until the fight's over, and it might not be pretty, but you know, I've been accused of that too. Teams not playing, but it's just the fact you're just going to, whatever, you try to find a way. And that's when you think of them. I think when you think of Frank, you think of a guy that's battled his whole life. He's worked hard and worked his way up through the profession. He wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and he, you know, has worked his way up to everything that he's gotten. And he's a great example for a lot of young coaches in the business.
What can you do in this quick of a turnaround? Play a road game late Wednesday, you got a road, Saturday. What can you really get done between games?
Other than complain to the SEC?
Right.
It is what it is. And the biggest thing is you try to, you realize, they've got an extra day of rest, extra day of prep. And one thing you want as a coach is make sure you guys are fresh going into the game. That's the number one objective, and making sure everybody's rested and ready to be able to compete. So that's our number one objective, even though we've got to get some work done today. Yesterday was more of a mental day, and today a little bit, but the key is that we can be at full speed come tomorrow night.
How do you feel at this point? Do you think they're well rested?
Yeah, well, they were tired yesterday, obviously. I think everybody was when you get back at 2:30 in the morning and have to go to class, and still dealing with a little bit of the bug, that little bug that's going around, but it is what it is. I think everything goes through it, and we just have to deal with it.
How quickly are you able to diagnose what opponents are going to do with Grant? I guess everyone's got a plan for him, right? Is that one of the first things you try and figure out in a game to adjust to?
Well, there's only so much they can do. I mean, they can double team him. And I guess they can triple team him. But Grant will be fine with that. I just think that what he needs, we're not concerned about what other people want to do because he's going to figure it out too, and we will. I mean, we're going to put the ball in his hands early and see what teams are going to do. And some teams will. The other night they doubled him a little bit. A couple of times they didn't, and trying to keep him off balance. But Grant, the more he's double teamed, the better he's going to get with it. And he really does like passing the ball more. But he's going to have to figure out, get his spacing, where he wants it, and when he can go quick with it, when he can't. But it's the other guys, too, giving him some rest. I mean, he played too many minutes the other night. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. We need our bench to give us some quality minutes, especially in the first half.
After the game, you were talking, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use this question. You were talking after the game, you weren't happy with the way he responded early in that game. How much of that is you watching Grant, too, and how quickly can he adjust? Do you challenge him the first time out and say, hey, you didn't play that as strong as you need to? Does he got to take those double teams on?
Well, I actually challenged him in the first 2 minutes when I took him out. Because the first two shots that he took, he didn't put any effort into it. He didn't even try to leave the ground. And and he went in, and he can't be like that. I mean, you know, he's got and he can explode. But I thought he was just, again, he just, for whatever reason, wasn't the Grant that we know he can be. And but he adjusted, and but it's also very hard for him. I mean, people today, South Carolina's talking about Grant Williams. You know, and he's a guy that's a target. He knows it going in, so he's learning that. He's never had it night in and night out like he's getting it right now. It's only going to make him better as he keeps going. And again, he's a key guy that we've got to make sure he's rested. But his teammates have to protect him there too. They've got to go in the game and give us quality minutes so he can get more rest, especially in the first half.
Coach, with
at what point does the whole looking for more front court depth kind of become a situation where you look at playing smaller lineups instead?
Well, that's a great question too, and we've done that too. You know, and again, but you know, when you think about the three guys, I think that most people really game plan for, and you hope they get to a point where they're game planning for everybody. But when you think about the load that Grant and Admiral and Jordan Bowden carry, if we go smaller and you need some scoring, it almost pushes AD to the inside, and now his minutes go up. And right now, it's critical that those guys get some rest so they can finish the game strong. And, but we just need everybody, whether it's Eve figuring out how to work him into the rotation, or Kyle continuing to grow like he's growing. I've said before, I think John Fulkerson's a real key. Derek Walker, those guys can help us. They've proven they can. They just have to do it on a more consistent basis.
All right, Lauren, last one.
with We Back Pat Week starting up this weekend, you know, what's it in women's basketball? What's it mean to you to be able to be a part of this program? You know, Pat's on the floor every time you walk.
Well, I've said before, you know, I was fortunate to get to know Pat back, probably 1987, somewhere in there, when she represented Baden basketball. I did. We both wore the Converse tennis shoe. We went on the Converse coaches trips together and did clinics for both of those companies as well. And you know, when I think of her, you know, there's a lot of wonderful thoughts. I think of her love for the game. She really loved it, and for a lady that was an icon, the thing that impressed me was she was always wanting to know what I knew, and you know, she was always trying to figure out ways to get better. And I think after being here and hearing stories, I don't think there's any question how much she loved this university and how much she loved her players and what they stood for. What's really impressive in our new locker rooms that are downstairs, they have that one pole down there that all her players signed, and the number one charge redoing that was to protect that pole. And I think that speaks volumes about her legacy in terms of what her players meant to her. But I think that anyone that came in contact with her would thank God for having that opportunity.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Okay.